Hey, Peter, Joe, glad to have you on my little video blog here. Um, how are things out you guys are out in Boston, the Cape area. Tell me a little bit about where you're located.
Yes, we're based in Boston. I am out in the Cape right now, working from home, and we currently have, I think, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, so I might lose power during this call. Uh,
Wow.
Hopefully, no insurance claims, but yeah, definitely got some notifications about the potential. So
It's like Mother Nature didn't get the memo.
yeah, I thought if my power goes out, I can be home with internet, but if the internet goes out, it's gonna be a bad day.
Right, right. Hey, and Joe, are you in Boston as well, or?
Yeah, so I'm usually in Boston, South Boston, but I actually moved my operation up into New Hampshire to a house that we have up
Oh,
here.
all
And
right.
so I'm close to the beach, a little more space. Figured it was good to get out of my small apartment in the city
Nice.
while all this is
Nice.
going on.
Nice.
Thankfully, Brad, we took one from your book and we set up our team to be remote first from day one. And so we've benefited immensely from that. Like everything we've put in place, even while Joe and I do work in Boston mostly and do a lot of networking all over the place, it's been a little bit easier for us to kind of switch 100% back to remote, even though the rest of our team is remote anyway. So
Right. So let's step a little bit back and why don't you guys sort of explain the story of Wunderite, how you got together, what your background is, and I'll just try to listen here.
yeah, so quick background on me, or maybe Joe, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Mass. I went to Northeastern undergrad. Northeastern University College in Boston has this co-op program where you do 3 6-month internships over the course of 5 years as a student. My very first job was statutory accounting and reporting at Liberty Mutual. So got a taste of the insurance industry when I was 19, was working alongside the third floor at their headquarters, working alongside executives there. Great job, worked around some great people. From there, I did fund accounting at an investment management firm in Boston for my second co-op. Again, great opportunity, but what I realized from my first 2 jobs was that I craved something smaller, kind of working in a small business environment where I could have a little more impact. And so when I graduated in 2012, I went back to a family business in the construction space and started off in finance and accounting, but after a few years rose up and was running the business with my father. Doing everything from, again, the finance and accounting to sales, marketing, general ops, heavy focus on IT. So like Peter, I'm sure he'll explain a little bit. Family business, construction space, there's a lot of room for improvement, a lot of efficiency to be made. And technology was something I was pretty good at and saw some opportunities to bring some new technology in-house. So I did a lot there. I did a 1-year ERP implementation where I upgraded our core system to be more modern day, trained the staff, got them going on that. After 6 years at the family business, had to make the decision of whether I wanted to stay there long term and kind of grow and scale the company, or potentially see what else was out there. And so I decided to apply to some business schools in Boston. Got a full scholarship to Boston College back in 2017, and on the first day of business school, I actually met Peter, and
Huh.
we hit it off right away. And yeah, I'll let kind of Peter explain his backstory and how we started working together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I graduated in 2010 with a degree in math and did the millennial thing. I traveled around the world till my money was gone, and came
You
back at
should have
the.
known the math there, Peter.
I'm
That
sorry.
you should have understood the math, that if you spend money and no money's coming in, you run out of money.
Yeah, I mean, I was on a shoestring budget. I stayed in some of the cheapest hotels you could ever imagine. I mean, I'm talking $2 a day in Egypt. So came back at the end of 2010, and my dad was like, Peter, you owe it to yourself to take a look in this business. It's provided very well for us as a family. And I never liked insurance because when I was young, it seemed like a business where there's just a bunch of processes like stamping paper all day long. I'm the kind of person that would rather spend 8 hours figuring out how to solve a problem than spend 15 minutes to just brute force go through it and get it done. I want to solve the problem. And so it was something I was never really excited about. My dad took the opportunity, brought me to Marshberry conferences and Insight and a bunch of insurance agency networking events, and kind of lured me into the industry. And so so I did everything from cutting the grass in our family office to earning my designations and licenses, my CIC, CRM, CPCU, lobbied in DC with the big I, and just learned the business, became a student of the business. And I did everything from selling personal insurance and life insurance to group health and commercial insurance, and ended up winning some of the largest deals that we had at our insurance agency through broker of record, which is a certain way of selling, and through gap analysis. So I would get 150 employee companies to fire their favorite broker, their golfing buddy, because this person wasn't doing his or her job. And that was exciting. You'd spend a number of years working on relationships, taking people to lunch, and then really being a technician on the insurance side. But I thought that my skill set wasn't being fully used. I think that if we just take a step back, when I was in high school, I was hacking this video game called Halo. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe your kids have heard of it. Played a lot. My brother and I had a website called modhalo.net with 20,000 members on it. We grew it to
Wow.
20,000. Yeah. And I had a website called Bulletproof Links. It got featured in Wired magazine, and I was hacked on Instant Messenger, which was like the Facebook Messenger of the day. And so I had like a tech hacky background, and I knew that we needed to have some better tech and tools for insurance agents. I felt like we just need to hire a bunch of MIT kids to build cool software for us. And so I was frustrated all along, thinking that even with all these designations, I'm spending a lot of my time doing data duplication and data re-entry. And I felt like the things that I was doing didn't scale well. And interestingly, I had a broker with a $2 million book of business from a large national brokerage recently reached out and called and was telling me, he's like, I have an annuity. I have a great business. But I love what you guys are doing, because what I'm doing doesn't scale. It just yeah. And so anyway, went to business school on a full scholarship in Boston with Joe. I had mocked up a number of ideas along the way running my family business on what would the perfect and ideal tool look like for me to help me do a better job as a millennial salesperson. Showed it to Joe, showed it to every classmate I possibly could. And at some point along the way, got students excited and interested, and we started doing these business plan competitions across the country. So Rice University down in Texas, University of Oregon out in Oregon, and Boston College started winning, making semifinals, getting cash. And by the time we graduated, we had paying customers, and we knew we had to do this full time. So we decided to turn down other opportunities and pursue Wunderite full time. Fast forward about 10 months, and we've gotten into some top ranked national business accelerators, which are these programs that help new people create businesses, and we're off to the races.
So that's great. So explain a little bit about what Wunderite does today and what your vision is for the future of Wunderite.
Yeah, so the original pain point that I had as a salesperson was filling out mountains of paperwork. It was filling out Accord forms, filling out supplementals, and it was filling out 3 different versions of the same supplemental for 3 different companies. It was this application and renewal process. And I thought there had to be a better way. There had to be a way where you could leverage data across forms, and where you could not just be emailing back and forth PDFs and a statement of values in an Excel spreadsheet with your customers. And when I talk to a lot of agencies, they're still doing that today. And so that was the original pain point that I wanted to approach. And it wasn't just about filling out the paperwork. It was about actually identifying the customer's data and helping them understand their data, so that it would help me as a salesperson shift the conversation to talking about the levers they could pull as a customer to drive down their total cost of risk. So for example, if you have an experience mod of 1.2 in your workers' comp, well, that's costing you money as a customer. And that's making you less competitive. Say if you're a construction, if you maybe you're a contractor, you're a carpentry company, and it's like, 1.2, that's costing you, your work comp is now 20% more than average. Never mind the fact that you could be better than average. So this could end up costing you 40% more and make you that much less competitive on jobs. So what are the things that you could do to drive down your risk in the same way that if you're going to apply for a mortgage for your house, there are certain things you can do to get a better rate. Things like get a better credit score, have a high income, have a long history of stable work so that all these things can come together and you get better rates for your mortgage. Same thing applies to your business insurance. But a lot of business owners are kind of out of touch with that. And in their minds, it's like, I need to shop my insurance every year, every couple of years to bring my pricing down. So that was kind of the original idea, was help streamline the application process, return some insights and data to the customers. I think what we found along the way is that there are a lot of problems with agency technology. Probably paramount among them is we just have too much technology. If you think back to the Titanic, this is the biggest loss in the history of insurance. It was underwritten in basically one page with like 70 signatures of people who signed their name to literally underwrite, be their names written underneath the manifest, hence underwriting. And they underwrote the ship, and the biggest loss in the history of insurance was paid in less than 30 days. For all the technology that we've adopted as an industry, you wouldn't see that happening today. Technology has made insurance more complex. Insurance companies are asking for more data, and the processes have become like flawed and just time intensive. And so our big vision is we just want to simplify insurance transactions, make them more human, efficient, transparent, etc.
So, Joe, I have a question for you. So, did you see some of the things that Peter was expressing as from a customer side of this? You know, getting workers' comp for all of the people that work for you, et cetera. Was that part of what drew you to, you know, it was originally Peter's idea. Was that part of what drew you to this?
Yeah, exactly. So I met Peter the first day of business school, and I think within the first week, he had showed me Wunderite and the mock-ups that he had for this idea that would make his job easier as a millennial sales producer that could be out on the road working with clients on his phone or his iPad. And what I saw from that was transparency into, you know, the insurance I was buying, because as the end consumer of business insurance, insurance was one of our biggest expenses, and the only transparency it had into this process was, you know, a 3-ring binder that had hundreds of pages in it. And so for me, what I saw in Wunderite was a very easy to understand process of applying for insurance, knowing what's covered, and, you know, being able to get some insights about how we can lower our risk, lower our premiums. And so exactly within the first week when he showed me this, I understood the value from the customer side.
So, yeah, I couldn't agree more in that I've always said that an agency management system, that's a misnomer. That an agency management system today is a back office system. And an agency's primary purpose should be to be a sales organization. And it seems to me what the vision for Wunderite is to take good tech and make your salespeople more productive. Am I onto something here, or am I off?
Yeah, I think if you look at our name Wunderite, it's a portmanteau of the German Wunder, which means miraculous, and underwriting, which again was this thing created in Lloyd's in London in the 1600s, where you would simply insure a boat or a ship by signing your name underneath the manifest. So what's the ship? What's the vessel's name? Who's the captain? What's the crew? Where's it going? What's the cargo? It was a really relational and beautiful thing. And we wanted to bring some of that miraculous back to the underwriting today, because it's gotten a little unwieldy with the amount of complexity. If you have a really good salesperson, say from the construction industry or from the medical device manufacturing industry, and you want to recruit them as a new sales producer, to your point, like, hey, this guy's or gal's a great salesperson, let's bring him on and have him sell insurance. It's like, it's a tall order, because you're like, first, you have to learn the insurance industry, which is complex, and no one knows what's covered. I have a CPCU, and it's tough to know what's covered. You really got to like read the policy docs. You got to consult with an attorney, and probably there has to be like a lawsuit that's happened in the past to establish some sort of like a lawsuit that you can look at to really tell what is and what isn't covered. So imagine you're trying to attract new salespeople to the business who are really good at sales, but it's a tall order to just onboard them to just learning insurance to start with. Then on top of that, they have to learn 7 different software systems just to do their job. They got to learn, HubSpot or Salesforce for the sales CRM or Pipedrive. And they got to learn the email and the internal tools. They have to have some sort of file sharing for document management. Maybe that syncs with their agency management system. Maybe it doesn't. And maybe they're not even using the agency management system because it's too complex for them to access on their iPhone when they're driving in their car to go visit the customer. So it's a lot of things to learn. At the end of the day, you have these new salespeople that are using Excel and PDFs and an email. It's just a lot. And so our vision is, can you make this a little bit easier so that we can become more of an attractive industry? A lot of insurance agents out there who've worked hard in the business for a long time, they have a really good business, and it's a great business for them, and it's done well. And I think some of us would wonder why is it so hard to find new salespeople? I think part of the reason is it's an unattractive proposition, and it's hard to get onboarded. Once you do, and you figure your way out, it can be a great business for you. And so we want to make a tool that can streamline the onboarding process for new sales talent and provide internal efficiency to the entire office.
Got it. Yeah, well, it's part of the organization that's been overlooked completely by technology in the insurance world. And if you step outside the insurance world and you see all the great automation, say like HubSpot that you mentioned or Salesforce, and you just go, wow, why doesn't this exist inside the insurance world? And so it's cool that you're creating this. So look, I don't want to keep you guys on too long. So if somebody's interested in learning about Wunderite and the sales technology that you've created, and wants to be with you on this journey, right? I mean, we know it's not, hey, just go to your local software store and buy Wunderite. It's a process that you guys are on. What should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, so I would say come check out Wunderite.com. It's our website. We have a form you can just put your email in and sign up for a demo. Really what that's doing is it's sending a note to us so we can reach out to you and learn more about your use case. We're selectively rolling this out to a few agencies across the country. So for context, we're a part of Broker Tech Ventures, which is an ecosystem of 14 of the industry's largest independent privately held insurance agencies who come together because they know that our future as an industry depends on building better technology to help our customers. And so we're working with them. We're working with a few agencies who see that there's a big challenge and they have an appetite for doing something about it. We have a couple of pilot projects underway, and we're selected because we want to make sure that what we're building works for us and for our product roadmap that we've envisioned, but it also is going to deliver end-to-end value for those customers. And so we have an early conversation. We can demonstrate the software that we've built, learn about our prospective customers' use cases. And if we feel like there's a good early partnership that's a win-win, we'd say, all right, let's have you as part of our beta rollout. The last thing we want to do is overpromise and underdeliver. I feel like there's been way too much of that. There's so much vaporware. I mean, my entire time in the industry, it's like I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for some software to get delivered that I think is going to do something that in the end never does, and no one knows how to use it, and it costs a lot of money. And so we're careful about that because we don't want to be out here like overhyping our company. We haven't actually done any marketing for our company, and part of that's purposeful because of where we are in our company life cycle. We're still on the earlier side in the sense that we're still refining the software, but at the same time, we have customers logging in on a weekly basis who are happy with it, and they're really excited about it. In fact, when we do demonstrations, I mean, agents get excited about what's possible. And then also this allows us to have a quick feedback loop. So when we get feedback from customers, we're able to aggregate that, see the things that we're hearing from multiple agents, and make those changes pretty quickly. And it's actually amazing, I mean, how quickly changes can get made and how the things that people in other industries can come to us in the insurance industry. Experiences like search as you type, things you just expect should exist today, it's not far off. And so we're building that in, and we'd be excited to hear from you. Drop us a note. My email is peter@wunderite.com. Joe's is joe@wunderite.com. Shoot us a note. Let us know your use case. Let us know what you're interested in. We'd be glad to set up a conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's awesome. And Joe, I bet for you coming into this industry and seeing the software, the state of the software in this industry, it must have been somewhat a shock to you.
The first thing I said to Peter when I met him, when he showed me the software demo of Wunderite, or the mock-ups, first week I met him, was, Peter, I promise you this exists elsewhere. Someone's already done this. And after talking to hundreds of agents, realized, wow, no one has done this. This is a huge opportunity. But it was definitely amazed by the technology that agents were using and the fact that this hadn't been built yet.
All right. Well, again, Joe, Peter, thanks so much for joining me. And we'll be posting this on my my YouTube channel. And you know, stay out of the 70-mile-per-hour winds up there, Peter. And let's stay away from COVID-19.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brad. Best wishes to you and to your customers.
Thanks for your time, Brad.
Have a good day.